this is Bonnie, and today I am going to be doing something with Memory Box, and that is because DiesRUs is having a sale this weekend, and this weekend happens to be, in case you watch this later, is January, I gotta get the date up here, I did not get the date, is January 28th and 29th. So, the sale is 10% off any Memory Box die that is in the DiesRUs store, and the sale ends on the 29th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And anything that's in the Memory Box in the store, in the Memory Box section. And I'll have the link below in the description, and I'll also have the code. The code is actually box 10. So BOX and the number 10. And again, I'll have that in the description below. So anyway, I was really excited and I wanted to share that with you. And these are two of the dies that I have purchased from DiesRUs that I wanted to share with you on how you can make a card using these two. But there's so many dies you can choose from that I think you'll have a really good time getting some of those dies at a discount. So I'm going to be using these two dies. I'm going to show you what those look like, just so that you can see them. This one is called the Verdant Leaf Collage. And one of the things I think is really cool about Memory Box is I think they're very innovative. I think they're the first die company that I actually bought a die that did not have a cut all the way around the outside, that it was more like a window. And I thought that was really cool at the time. And this happens to be one of those dies that does not cut a rectangle, but actually does a cutout of the design. And I will show you how that works. So that's that one. And then the other thing is they have done a lot of stitched. They look stitched. These aren't actually ones you can actually stitch into, but they have they're like little pin pokes in them. And I think you can see that in those. There's 3 of them, and that's about what the size of them are. Let me go ahead and measure. This one happens to be about 2.5, and then the medium size one is about 1 3/4, and then the smallest one is about 1.5. So really good layered snowflakes, and you actually could really layer those too as well. And I did not do that, but I can show you. So I think that I just get really excited about these dies and sharing them with you. So let me go ahead and show you what it looks like to cut out the Verdant Leaf Collage. And I've already done that with this. This was my sample. And then what I wanted to show you, and I'm going to go ahead and get that cut for you too, so that you understand, this is metallic paper that I actually got from Tim Holtz. And basically all you do is you just figure out where you want that placed. And actually these would be also really good for shaker cards. They would be excellent for shaker cards. So I actually taped this on. I'm going to go ahead and bring this over to my die cutting machine. I want you to see how I put that on. And then I'm going to bring it right back to show you what it looks like once you cut it out. I mean, you can see that one that I have sitting there, and what it looks like when it's just basic paper, and that's just regular cardstock. And then I'm going to show you this one and how this looks. I want you to see. So these are the fallouts right there. And that is what it looks like. It is just really, 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 really super pretty. So that's just the basic, cutting those out. And then I've also cut out several snowflakes. I've cut out snowflakes in white. That's one set. Let me get that down here. That's one set. And then I also cut them out of printed paper. And I wanted to talk to you about the printed paper, because this is also available in DiesRUs to buy this printed paper. And it looks really pretty when you die cut it. And I'm going to show you that just one second. And that happens to be Fairy Hugs craft papers. This one's called ThunderGlow. And to get that really pretty design like that, it just happens to be this paper right here. Let me show you I think I can get to it really quickly, but there's just so many in here that you could cut from like that. And that one happens to be that one right there. And it just depends on where you place your snowflake on there and the design that you'll get in the color, which is really cool. So I want to go ahead and get these put kind of like together to show you what we're going to do. And so I'm going to work on the white base one first. And what I want to do, and you'll see why, is I'm also using this double-sided paper. I should have told you that too. And that is from WinkleBush. And this one happens to be right here on the pad. And it goes really good when you coordinate that with the other paper. So what I would do first is I just basically would cut a piece that would fit back behind there. And that's how I usually do my paper cutting. I know I have a friend that's very, very, very precise, but this is going to go behind, and so it doesn't really matter. I thought I just bent that. I guess I didn't bend it really well. So anyway, that's what I usually do, is I just put that like where I want it to be, roughly, knowing that that's going to work. And then I just kind of like crease it slightly. There it is. And then I cut that. All right. And then that will be placed on top of that. There's a couple of things you can do. Remember I told you at this stage, you really could do this as a shaker card by putting your acrylic in between these two parts and your double-sided tape. In this case, I am just going to be gluing this down on top. And to do that, actually what I could really do is my tape, because that's not going to be a big deal. Because this is basically really a quick card. Once you get these simply cut out, it goes really fast. You could make a lot of these at one time. And then you just place that on top. And you have that. That's just a pretty card all in itself. And then you can put a sentiment or whatever. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding these snowflakes. And in this case, I'm going to kind of rotate it so that the purple is down below. Doesn't really matter. And then I'm just going to randomly place these on here to make a design, and I'm also still going to pull up some of the white ones and put those on top. And this one, I think I'm going to do the medium one down here and place that there. And you see, we have a really pretty card, and it's that quick. All you have to do is glue those things down. And if you want it to be raised a little bit, if you're not concerned about having a little bit of bulk, I would use foam tape to give you some dimension. And you could have done that too with this right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this together for you really quick, just to show you how fast, once you get these all die cut, you can put this together. And then I would put this on obviously a card base. So this is the back side of it, because it's a double-sided paper. And I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 foam squares on there that I cut and raise that up a little bit. And you can put that on there in any direction you want. If you don't want it overhanging so that you can keep your width, that's what I would do. Is I would go like that to keep it just inside, or you could always cut it back if you wanted to. So this card can actually be winter with the snowflakes, or you can make the spring or fall flowers. There is so many things you can do with this particular die. And then snowflakes are good for any time, or for any time in the winter. I always think they look like winter flowers. That's what I call them. They're just really pretty, especially when you're doing on cards. They're kind of like, I think of them as a winter flower on a card. So this one has, the medium-sized one has a hole in the middle, and if I'm going to raise that up at all, I'm going to probably have to put a gem on that center because you're going to see that tape through the hole. Like I said, just randomly put these on. And this one should be okay if I make that a little, yeah, that should be okay. And again, they're all raised the same height. Sometimes I'll go up one just to make one higher. And then I'm going to put this one in. I think I am going to make that one a little bit higher. So I'll add 2 layers to the back of that snowflake. To make it a little bit higher than the rest. And that works. And again, that will need a gem. And then I'm going to put the small one in the center of the big one. And I also want to remind you, to get even more of a look to these snowflakes, you can cut them out of white core paper too. Whoops. And by cutting them out of white core, you can sand them back and you can see those. You can see the pin dots even more. It just gives it a little bit more creativity, if you want to call it that. So that's kind of like, I'm going to add the gems really quick, and technically that card, other than putting it on a card base, would be done. And then I just need to find what I did with my gems. All right, so I have a couple gems. I had not made this card before, so I was missing some of my supplies. All right, so I'm going to put a gem on that one. Actually, I think I'll put a gem on a couple of them. I think it adds to it anyway. I think I'm going to put it on all of them. This particular gem comes from Hobby Lobby, and it actually has, I want to say, a hologram kind of look to it. So it's got even the purple, so it pulls up the purple at the same time. So this card, like I said, is really quite simple to do, and you can still put like a sentiment here, or you could put a sentiment up here. I think it would be beautiful. So the next one I wanted to show you very quickly would be the one that we did that was metallic. I'll pull that one over to show you one more card. And for this card, my plan, which always can change, was to use FrostFlight, Fairy Hugs FrostFlight. It has really pretty papers for the winter and other times as well. So I had pulled out this one. And I wasn't sure which side because I hadn't cut this out yet. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do it, but I was pretty sure it was going to be the white look. But let's just look so you can see how you can change things out even with this paper. It could be a two-tone, but it's not exactly the same color as that. This one has a little bit of green to it. I don't think it showcases it quite as well, but I do like the lines through that. I think that's kind of pretty. And I think I'm going to go with just the simple. I'm going to see that because I'm also going to be adding snowflakes, and if the snowflakes are too, I don't know if the snowflakes will be too white. I don't know. Kind of like looking at that and seeing what I think. I'm going to try the other side once. See how that goes with that. Well, they kind of show up a little bit better on that using it there. So let's go with that. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing I did for the first one. I'm going to trim that back there. And this will be simple. I mean, I'm just giving you some basic ideas of what you can do. There's so much more you can do with these dies. But this just gives you a really quick idea. I think that works really well. So we'll go ahead and put the tape on the back again. And again, like I said, this would be really pretty if I had more time to do the shaker card. I do faux shaker cards. I should show you how I do faux shaker cards, because I think that would be pretty as well. Okay, so we've got that. And then our snowflakes. And this card's a little bit shorter. But I think I'm going to do this instead, putting one up here at the top. I think that works really well. And I think for this one, I am just actually going to glue the snowflakes, except for this top one right here. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. All right. Okay, I'm just going to get that to come in a little bit off the side. And I do think I'm going to raise this one up. Just one. And you could totally leave it just like that. Or you can do the, I have a couple more gems sitting right here I can go ahead and use. I probably could pull out some more. But you can just see how quick that goes and how pretty they can be. It could say happy birthday. It could say warm wishes. There's so many things. I'm going to grab my others. In fact, I can even show you the packaging so you can see. That's Paper Studio at Hobby Lobby. You can see how it has a little purple cast, green cast, pink. It's really pretty. And I tend to use this because it's not, I don't know, really too glitzy, but it's kind of nice. So, and it has that many different sizes in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm using that size. And that can be a really pretty simple card. And I said I could show you how I do my faux, but I'm going to have to find my stuff really quickly, so I'm going to do that real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so for me to get a faux looking shaker card, obviously it doesn't shake, is I use Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. You can also use the accent, what's that called? Glossy Accents also works. So what I do is I just come down here in the corner and I add some of that, what you would call glossy accents, or this dimensional. And I really like how it pretty much stays where I want it to stay, doesn't run all over the place. And then what I do is I have a bunch of seed beads, and I will take, and these are kind of iridescents, which kind of like goes with this whole theme. And I will just actually put those, let's see if we can get a little bit closer, so you can actually see what I'm doing there. So I just actually drop these into that Dimensional Magic or Glossy Accents. And I try to get as much that will stay in there, and then so my fingers don't get all full of the glue, I actually use my little paper piercer And then those will stay in the corner kind of like that and give that a little bit of a shaker look. I can add more if I want to, or just have that little bit of an accent. And that's kind of like what I do to get that kind of a look. And I don't have problems with that. In the mail, I probably would still use something like a very, I don't know, thin, not really, it can have bubble wrap, but you know, something on the top that will make it protected. I don't know that it needs bubble wrap, but as you know, using the gems anyway, it's always nice to have something on top of this when you go to mail it so it doesn't rip through the paper. But I have not had a problem with that. And it actually just gives it a little bit of, I don't know, fun look to it, if you want to call it that. But you can see just from looking at that how that would make really a nice shaker card, I think, also. So one other thing too I could have used, I also have these snowflakes. In fact, let's just add some so you can see what they look like. They are also like made for a shaker card. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of this Dimensional Magic to the top part of that. And I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of these snowflakes. Again, let's get a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. I like better when I can just pick it out instead of them dropping in, but this is, opening to this one is a little bit smaller. So obviously they're falling a little bit more. I'm going to use my pick right here to try to get some of these to come over here to the side. There we go. And these have a little bit of iridescence to them as well. And all those are not going to stay in there. So what I tend to do is after I put those on, I'll tap them down a little bit. And then whatever doesn't stay, I'm going to leave this up. I'll tap those off. And then if I really want those to stay better, like if they're not really adhered really well, I will even put a drop of that Mod Podge back on top of it. And again, this is a Dimensional Magic, not your typical Mod Podge. That is the solid white. This is clear. I'm not really sure that they're making that, but again, like I said, the glossy accents works. So, and that's kind of like the look you get. You can see the snowflakes there too. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know about the sale. I wanted to show you what you can do with at least 2 of the items that are in the sale. And I hope that inspired you today. It was kind of fun just to quickly make a card to show you what you can do. And so below, down below in the description, I will have the links to what I used, and I'll have the code and the information about the sale. I appreciate you stopping by today. Thanks so much.